Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1. I want to talk about a news, and the news would be the Ukraine-Russia problem and Putin and Biden's virtual communication and their meeting. And just give you some background. When the Soviet Union fell, there was probably, well, this was really an agreement that Ukraine would get rid of their nuclear weapons in exchange for Russia respecting their territorial sovereignty. So that has to be kept in the back of our heads. Also, when the Soviet Union fell, Central and Eastern Europe, there was nothing really official, but the U.S. said they would keep their hands off of that area and let those countries do their own thing. So you're talking Poland, you're talking Czechoslovakia, I think Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria. All those areas had Soviet troops in them. And they were pulled out, and these countries went their separate ways. And most of those countries, I think all those countries, actually became part of NATO eventually. Which sort of the agreement was between the Soviet Union, now Russia, that NATO wouldn't move into these areas, but really NATO has. These countries are NATO. Look at Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. My son spent a lot of time, he's deployed over there 3 times. He spent a lot of time training those soldiers. There is NATO troops and lots of NATO troops in those countries. And remember, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, those were Soviet republics. So if you look at it from their point, that's like Soviet Union moving right into Mexico. And really, if we had a breakup of our 50 states, that's like Soviets moving into Arizona, New Mexico, California. That's what it's like. Remember during the Cuban crisis, Soviet Union put missiles down in Cuba, and we were going to have a war. World War III would have started very soon. It was just by the grace of God that World War III did not start, and the Soviet Union decided to move their missiles out. Can you imagine today if the Soviet Union wanted to put missiles down in Mexico, or maybe troops in Mexico, and Mexico said no problem, or invited the Chinese in and put them right on the border with a lot of military gear? We would be going crazy. So I agree, Russia broke their promise to Ukraine when they annexed Crimea in 2014. They moved in and they failed to honor their agreement for territorial sovereignty and respect of the borders of Ukraine in exchange for Ukraine giving up all nuclear weapons. We pushed that. We wanted Ukraine to give up weapons, their nuclear weapons, probably for stability, but it happened. So, Soviets broke their promise, which turned into Russia, which broke their promise, taking Crimea. We could have looked at, maybe we broke our promise by inviting all these countries into NATO. So right now, the Soviet Union, or excuse me, Russia does not want Ukraine to join NATO. They do not want the NATO forces right on the border, which right now, if you look at Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, they're on the border. There's a lot of NATO troops there. There's American troops there. So I can see this, the Russian side. So who's right, who's wrong? I have no idea. I can't solve the world's problems, but I do want you to know what's all this. The Soviet Union was totally embarrassed when they collapsed. Putin wants to regain some prestige. If it means him going into Ukraine to make sure NATO does not sit right on their border. My son sat 6 clicks off the Russian border. He sat there with a bunch of guys armed to the teeth with war stock sitting there as a quick reaction force. So, what's the right answer? What's the wrong answer? It doesn't matter to me right now because I can't influence. All I can do is prepare and plan accordingly in case it does go hot over there. What does it mean for me? Well, maybe Biden will just sit it out and let Russia grab half of Ukraine. Maybe NATO will say no and it'll start World War III. I don't know. I'm just preparing for any problem. I hope this explains it. There's no right, there's no wrong here. There's been a lot of broken promises on both sides. Thanks for watching.